So this is my useless machine, and if you've seen most simple useless machines, they're just a little box with a switch on them. When you push the switch, something from inside the box comes out and pushes the switch back off. I wanted to make one a little more entertaining, so I made this skull box.
Can't believe these people keep pushing the switch. Can't they resist? Don't push the switch.
It has an audio recording that repeats itself every once in a while, just to kind of complain. But you'll get it in a minute. It has 5 sequences.
Hey, can you read? It says don't push the switch. All right, knock it off. Who keeps touching the switch? You? Stop it! I'm watching you. I'm still watching you.
So those are the 5 sequences. Since this device is designed to be mobile and taken to some of the outreach events our Makerspace does, I wanted to make it a little so you could see how it works. So each one of the sides folds down.
Can't believe these people keep pushing the switch. Can't they resist? Don't push the switch.
So to go through a little sequence of how it works, the brains behind it is a TNC 3.5 with an audio shield that's actually underneath this board here. The reason I use a TNC is because I tried using a regular Arduino Uno with a MP3 player, but it had a very difficult time multitasking between playing the MP3 file and then doing anything else, whereas the TNC does it with no problem. Next board over, these are level shifters, 3.3 volts in and 5 volts out. The TNC operates at 3.3 volts, and I needed 5 volts to control the servos and the relays. Here we have this is the volume control. This is a button to put it in kind of like a demo mode, so if you want to see what the servos do inside the skull head, it can kind of show somebody. And this is a switch to turn on and off the mumbling it plays every once in a while. The hand's operated with a relatively decent power servo. There is a 24 volt power supply here, feeding a 24 to 5 volt power supply that feeds most all the electronics. I also have a separate 5 volt power supply supplying power to the audio amplifier because I was having some trouble with interference with it. The head goes up and down using a car power window motor down underneath here, attached to a lead screw. I'm driving the 12 volt motor at 24 volts to make it go fast enough up and down. And it has limit switches on the top and bottom. So if I turn the power back on, I can kind of demonstrate how the head works.
Why don't these people just leave me alone?
Let me just put it in. Here's the inside of the skull. There's a servo that opens and closes the mouth. There's a set of servos that turn the eyes. That's what they're doing now. Each one's on its own, so it can go cross-eyed. And there's a servo at the top that does the eyebrows. Let's see if I can video the motor working while I'm pushing the button on the other side. Then you're going to watch it go back down. In addition to the servos in the head and the one that raises and lowers the hand, there's 2 additional servos. One of them is up here to open the door that covers the head.
Keep pushing the switch. Can't they read? It says don't push the switch.
And then there's one more, a small one up here to open and close the door that lets the hand out. There's a couple 3D printed parts on it. The handle for the switch is 3D printed, basically to make it large enough for the hand to hit. And then underneath I 3D printed this bracket, if you can see it. And the bracket allows the switch to drop down so that when it's being transported, the switch doesn't break off. The do not push the switch sign was done on our laser at MakerFX Makerspace. And about the only other thing to it, there's a LED light I put on the back, so I know when the board is powered up properly. The amplifier just drives a regular 4-inch car speaker, which works out well. I can get it pretty much as loud as I want it.
Keep pushing the switch. Can't they read? It says don't push the switch.
And this is what the head looks like. It started its life as a simple plastic skull from a collection of bones that was purchased at Halloween time. And I carved the eyes out and put the eyeballs in, 3D printed the eyebrows, and hooked up a servo to the mouth. The mouth already had a hinge on it. And that's about the extent of it.
Just leave me alone. All I want is over a piece